Hello friends, this is Prasad Raj Kushwaha. Came up with a new topic, frozen soil infiltration. Today we'll look on this topic, frozen soil infiltration. Introduction. Frozen soil infiltration refers to the process of water or liquid entering the soil when the soil is frozen. Infiltration in frozen soil can be challenging due to the reduced permeability caused by the presence of ice and the physical properties of frozen soil. When the soil is frozen, the water in the soil pores also freezes and forms ice. Ice occupies more space than liquid water, resulting in decreasing soil permeability. The ice crystals can block the soil pores and restrict the movement of water. Now, the rate of infiltration. Now, the first is temperature. The temperature gradient and the fluctuation in the frozen soil influence the rate of infiltration. Warmer temperatures can lead to partial thawing, creating temporary pathways for water to infiltrate. Now, the soil texture. Soil texture plays a role in frozen soil infiltration as it affects the pore size, distribution, and connectivity. Soils with larger pore space, such as sandy soil, tend to have higher infiltration rates compared to the soil with smaller pores, such as clay soils. Now, the third is ice content. The amount and distribution of ice within the frozen soil impact the infiltration. Ice lenses or layers can impede the movement of water, reducing infiltration rates. The formation of ice segregation or ice lenses can create preferential flow paths or barriers. Now, the fourth one is soil structure. The physical strength of the soil, including its aggregation and compaction, can affect frozen soil infiltration. Compacted or densely packed soils may have reduced pore space, making infiltration more challenging. The fifth one is water content. The moisture content of the frozen soil also plays a role. Dry soil freezes faster than moist soil because the presence of water delays the freezing process. Moist soils may have more unfrozen water available for infiltration during freeze-thaw cycles, potentially enhancing the infiltration rate. Now let us look at the factors affecting the frozen infiltration. How, what things can affect the frozen infiltration? The first one is soil texture. Soil texture refers to the relative proportion of sand, silt, and clay particles in the soil. Coarser textured soils, such as sandy soils, generally have larger pore space and higher infiltration rates compared to the finer textured soils, such as clay soils. The second one is soil structure. Soil structure refers to the arrangement and organization of soil particles and aggregates. Well-structured soils with good aggregation tend to have more macrospores which facilitate infiltration. Compacted or poorly saturated soils may have reduced pore spaces, limiting the infiltration. Now, the third is ice content. The presence of ice in frozen soil significantly affects the infiltration. Ice occupies more space than liquid water, reducing the available pore space for water to infiltrate. So, ice lenses or layers can block or restrict the movement of water, hindering the infiltration. Next is temperature. Temperature plays a crucial role in frozen soil infiltration. Colder temperatures result in increased soil stiffness and decreases permeability, making infiltration more challenging. Next is snow cover. The snow cover acts as an insulating layer over frozen soil, impacting infiltration. It can regulate temperature fluctuations and slow down the freezing and thawing processes. Next is vegetation and organic matter. The presence of vegetation and organic matter in frozen soil can affect infiltration. Vegetation and organic materials can improve soil structure, promote aggregation, and increase the water holding capacity of the soil, potentially enhancing the infiltration rate. Now, the next is slope and topography. The slope and topography of the land influence frozen soil infiltration. Steep slopes can result in rapid surface runoff and limited infiltration, whereas flat or gently sloping areas may allow more time for water to infiltrate into the soil. Next is hydrological conditions. The initial moisture content of the soil and the presence of water sources such as precipitation or meltwater can affect frozen soil infiltration. Moist soils freeze more slowly than dry soils because the water in the soil needs to freeze before the soil can become fully frozen. Higher moisture content can lead to the formation of ice lenses or segregation, impacting the infiltration process. Now let us look towards the influence of soil texture on frozen infiltration. So there are two textured soils, that is coarse textured soil and fine textured soil. The coarse textured soils, such as sandy soils, typically have larger individual particles and larger pore spaces. These larger pore spaces allows for easier movement of water and facilitate the infiltration. In frozen conditions, sandy soils generally have higher infiltration rate compared to the finer textured soil. Now, finer textured soils such as clay soils have smaller individual particles and smaller pore spaces. These smaller pore spaces restrict the movement of water and can impede infiltration even in unfrozen conditions. In frozen soil, the situation is exacerbated. Now, let us look towards the influence of environmental condition on frozen infiltration. So, temperature. Temperature is the fundamental environmental factor affecting frozen soil infiltration. Colder temperatures result in increased soil stiffness and decreased permeability, making infiltration more challenging. And the next is snow cover. Snow cover acts as an insulating layer over frozen soil, influencing the infiltration. It can moderate temperature fluctuation and slow down the freezing and thawing processes. Deep snow cover can help maintain higher soil temperature closer to 0 degree, potentially promoting infiltration by reducing the extent of frozen soil layer. Now the next is precipitation. Precipitation events such as rain or melting snow can affect frozen soil infiltration. During the thawing periods, precipitation can contribute to increased water availability and potential for infiltration. Anyway, intense and excessive precipitation can result in surface runoff and limited infiltration. Now the next is soil moisture content. The initial moisture content of the soil before freezing can influence frozen soil infiltration. Moist soils freeze more slowly than dry soils because the water in the soil needs to freeze before the soil can be fully frozen. Higher moisture content can lead to the formation of ice lenses or segregation, which can impact infiltration patterns. Dry soils, on the other hand, may experience faster freezing and reduce infiltration capacity. Now, the next is vegetation and surface cover. The presence of vegetation or surface cover, such as grass, shrubs, or crops residues, can affect frozen soil infiltration. Vegetation and surface cover help intercept precipitation and promote water infiltration by reducing the impact of rain or snow directly on the soil surface. They also improve soil structure, reduce erosion, and enhance water holding capacity, thereby facilitating infiltration. And the next is topography. The slope and the topography of the land influence frozen soil infiltration. A steep slope can result in a rapid surface runoff and limited infiltration, as I have already said, whereas flat or gently sloping areas may allow more time for water to infiltrate into the soil. Now let us look towards the effect of frozen soil infiltration. Hydrological cycle. Frozen soil infiltration affect the movement of water within the hydrological cycle. Reduced infiltration in the frozen soil can lead to increased surface runoff as water is unable to penetrate the soil. And second is groundwater recharge. Infiltration is a critical process for recharging groundwater reservoirs. When frozen soil hinders infiltration, less water can percolate down to replenish groundwater stores. Next is soil moisture content. Frozen soil infiltration affects soil moisture distribution. Limited infiltration can result in drier soil conditions as water is unable to penetrate and replenish soil moisture. This can also impact the plant growth and agriculture. Nutrient transport. Infiltration plays a role in movement of nutrients through the soil profile. Reduced infiltration in frozen soil can impede the transport of nutrients from the soil surface to deeper layer, limiting their availability of plants and soil organisms. This can have implication of plant growth. Now the next is permafrost stability. Frozen soil infiltration is closely linked to the stability of permafrost, which is permanently frozen ground. Permafrost acts as a foundation for ecosystem in cold regions and supports structures such as buildings and infrastructure. Changes in the infiltration pattern due to climatic variation can lead to alteration in permafrost stability. Next is ecosystem dynamics. Infiltration affects soil moisture availability, which in turn influences ecosystem dynamics. Reduced infiltration in frozen soil can impact plant communities, alter vegetation patterns, and affect the composition and distribution of the wildlife. Now, the next is climate feedbacks. Frozen soil infiltration is a component of larger climate system. Changes in the infiltration pattern due to climatic variation can contribute to feedback loops. Now let us look how to overcome on the frozen soil infiltration. Overcoming frozen soil infiltration can be challenging, but there are several strategies and techniques that can help to mitigate its effects. So some of the approaches are the snow management. Proper snow management practices can help regulate soil temperature and minimize the extent of frozen soil layer. Removing excess snow from critical areas such as roads or agricultural land fields can prevent defreezing of the soil and promote the infiltration during thawing periods. Next is soil amendments. Adding organic matters such as compost or manure to the soil can improve the soil structure, promote irrigation, and increase water holding capacity. As organic matter acts as a sponge, enhancing filtration and reducing the negative effect of frozen soil. And the next is mulching. Applying mulch such as straw or wood chips on the soil surface can provide insulation and reduce temperature and fluctuation. Mulch helps to regulate soil temperature and protect the soil from freezing to greater depths. Now the next is drainage system. Installing subsurface drainage systems such as fence drains or tile drains can help remove excess water from the soil and prevent the waterlogging. These drainage systems can facilitate the movement of water away from the frozen soil, enhancing the infiltration during the thawing periods. Now the next is the raised beds or molds. Creating raised beds or molds can improve drainage and promote infiltration by elevating the soil surface. Raised beds or molds provides better drainage pathways for water and reduce the extent of frozen soil layer. Now the next is windbreaks or shelter belts. Planting windbreaks or shelter belts can help mitigate the effect of freezing and thawing cycles. These vegetative barriers reduces wind speed, which can lower the cooling effect of the soil surface and moderate the soil temperatures, promoting the infiltration. Now the next is irrigation management. In agricultural settings, careful irrigation management can help overcome frozen soil infiltration. Applying water during the thawing periods or using techniques such as trickle or drip irrigation can promote infiltration by targeting the water to specific areas and minimizing the water loss through surface runoff. Now the next is soil heating. In some cases, soil heating techniques can be employed to thaw the frozen soil and promote the infiltration. This involves using the heat sources such as geothermal system, soil warming cables, or mulch covering cover the heating pipes to raise the soil temperature and facilitate the thawing. So in conclusion, we can say frozen soil infiltration is influenced by various factors including soil texture, environmental conditions, and physical properties of frozen soil. Soil texture plays a significant role with coarse textured soils generally exhibiting higher infiltration rates compared to the fine textured soils. Environmental conditions such as temperature, snow cover, precipitation, soil moisture content, vegetation, and topography also affect frozen soil infiltration. Colder temperatures and deep snow cover decreases infiltration rates, while thawing periods and warmer temperature can enhance infiltration. Precipitation can both contribute to water availability for infiltration and result in the surface runoff if excessive. By implementing the appropriate strategy, it is possible to mitigate the challenges posed by the frozen soil infiltration. So thank you.